Is there something wrong?
Have you ever wondered which of the original Assassin's Creed game targets were historical, let alone actually assassinated? 14-year-old me way back then just assumed they all at least existed, and then some loose historical interpretation was applied to cater to the plot. The game, after all, had great recreations of the holy city of Jerusalem, Masyaf, Damascus, newly Crusader reconquered Acre. So let's find out which targets were legit. Some context around the assassins themselves, as I think it will provide some flavour to the discussions of the targets. As you may already know, the very term assassin comes from this group, often called the Hashashins. It was believed they took a little something, possibly, and it added to their zeal before a mission. They were part of a sect within the Shia branch of Islam, which still exists today at around 15 million adherents. The question remains, when did they change their modus operandi? Based in Alamut, as seen in AC Mirage and Masyaf, the assassins were quite savvy at making alliances where required. Fun fact, Masyaf was actually constructed by the Byzantines. In the game, we see the fortress sieged by Robert de Sab's forces, but in reality, it was actually Saladin who got a bit petulant with them and lay siege with his forces, but in a different time frame. The following sequence of tales are just incredible, and might be a concoction of several real events. In 1176, the siege of Masyaf is going on. Saladin is also addressing other fronts, most likely. An assassin is somehow able to scuttle into his tent and injure him fairly badly. Saladin increases his security. More guards are stationed around him. And yet, despite all these measures, he wakes up one night with a poisoned dagger next to him and what's said to be a cake. I imagine it as a pancake with a death threat inscribed on it. Basically telling him that he will die if he ever messes with them. The story then goes that he exits his tent and demands an explanation from his guards, as well as retribution. And then the guards reveal that they themselves are assassins. This is shocking, as his detail is most likely long-term and vetted, yet always capable of taking him out at a moment's notice. Reminds me, actually, of Trump's third-rate Secret Service substitute team, at least on that one day. Hey man, that's a really cool telescope. Where did you get it? Regardless, even if some things have been lost in the fog of time, I feel that there probably is truth to this legend, at least some truth, between Saladin and the assassins. There are even periods of time where the assassins are paying tribute to crusading orders for protection, and in turn it's believed that the various important Latins are using the assassins' services for their bidding. A severe challenge to this, though not permanent, is when Templar knights kill some assassins in 1172, citing no diplomacy with the infidel. I believe this gives us opportunity to talk about the first target of real or not, but not in chronological order in the game.
Walk amongst the people of their cities. You'll learn the secrets of their sins. Do not doubt that these men are obstacles to the peace we seek.
Mualim is based on Rashid ad-Din Sinan. He was around his 60s during the Third Crusade and had led the assassins for decades at that point. To a degree, he and those in his position have been romanticized as the old man of the mountain, partly because he did parley with the Europeans, and we have accounts of him from chroniclers. I just wanted to read my favorite account of one of Rashid's successors, Al-Mualim's successors, who would have had the same title, from Joinville's Chronicle. I think it highlights some of the theology within the Assassins group. So Brother Eve found a book by the head of the old man's bed, and in the book were written many words that our Lord, when on earth, had said to St. Peter. And Brother Eve said to him, for God's sake, sire, read this book more often, for these are good words. And the old man said that he oftentimes did so. He said, Since our Lord St. Peter said, For at the beginning of the world the soul of Abel, when he was killed, went into the body of Noah. And when Noah died, it returned to the body of Abraham. And from the body of Abraham, when he died, it came into the body of St. Peter, at that time when God came on earth. So you get a bit of an idea there of what was going on. He died in 1193 of unknown causes, maybe disease or old age. Fair game to put the AC plot in the thick of it, methinks.
Ironic, isn't it? That I, your greatest enemy, kept you safe from harm.
Yes, he did exist, and was the Grand Master of the Templars from 1191 to 93. He played a significant role in several battles, notably in Masyaf, where Altair bests him in a duel in the game. Cause of death unknown, but there is no record that it is from a battle wound. From this very nice edition, The Monks of War, I discovered that Robert de Sable was even a poet, which, if we combine that with Ubisoft's interpretation of the character, you get a very angry poet. Another cool reminder from this book, The Monks of War, was that these knights truly considered themselves as part of a religious order, which is easy to forget. You can see within it the prefixes of Fra Robert de Sable or Fra Garnier Nablu, and you just understand that they treated it as a title and as a vocation.
No. Leave the body. Let this be a lesson to the rest of you. Think twice before you tell me something cannot be done.
Tamir is the first target I remember from playing the game. He violently slays a contact in the middle of a shaded square. It really gives you a sense of the evil you're dealing with. Unfortunately, not a historical character.
Good, good. It pleases me to see you all so happy. For these are dark days, my friends, and we must enjoy this bounty while we still can.
I would categorize Abu's sequence as one of the impressive missions in the game. An opulent man has a large gathering for a party. He starts off jovially and then changes his tune after the toast, decrying society's judgment of him, despite there being some other rotund boyos that attend as well. This was a red wedding scene before I knew of such a thing. The death rattle conversation really hit home the duality of this conflict, where one side is not just a blameless lamb and the other a greedy conqueror. Alas, not a historical figure.
Do you think this gives me pleasure? Do you think I want to hurt you? But you leave me no choice.
Now this target is a vivid memory. The Grand Master of the Hospitalier cares so much that he won't let you leave. Later on in the franchise, there would be similar targets, such as the Doctor in Syndicate and the Nun Researcher in Valhalla, but this one hit me right in the core memories. And he was a real figure, also called Garnier de Nablu, Grand Master of the Knights Hospitalier from 1190 to 1192. The Hospitallers would focus on the well-being and particularly the health of pilgrims. Exact cause of death unknown, likely due to illness or wounds.
Now I stand before you.
Aha, your lack of surname or city of origin should have been a dead giveaway. Not historical. So he corners Altair and claims that he will cleanse the riffraff of the Templar project. It really bothered me how he never even once attempts to use his bow.
Your devotion pleases me. This evil must be purged.
What can I say? The digital hair elements are better in this mission than in Hogwarts Legacy, just 15 years earlier. However, he is not a historical figure. There is an interesting detail though. Majidin deems the captured assassin on death row a heretic, something that goes in line with the irregular theology of Rashid / Al-Mualim. Technically an intermission, as Maria Thorpe was not one of the targets that Al-Mualim specified.
I would see your eyes before you die.
I sense you expected someone else.
What sorcery is this?
You're a girl. Not a real figure, but it did get me thinking, were there any female knights in the Crusader orders? There were not. Most were strictly male orders. There were corresponding sister orders for nuns who greatly assisted in the Holy Land. The closest thing that I could find would be the Order of the Holy Sepulchre, which had a female branch. But I couldn't find any records that they held armaments at all. So, look, let me know in the comments if you find anything erroneous in what I say. I will make a pinned comment if the correction is needed. For that matter, please like and subscribe.
No, these bits of paper are covered in lies. They poison your minds, and so long as they exist, you cannot hope to see the world the way it truly is.
Jubair is within the book-burning scenario. His comrades are like the anti-assassins, like the shadow, heartless version of Sora, or something. Book burnings have frequently happened throughout history, obviously. Saladin tended towards respecting those conquered, although he did parade holy relics of conquered cities. The biggest destruction of texts in the Middle East would happen around 50 years later by the Mongol invasion of Baghdad. Basim actually references the House of Wisdom in Valhalla, and you can visit it in Mirage. Regardless, Jubair didn't exist. Sibrande. My favourite target to pronounce, although probably wrong due to Germanic origin. You can understand his stress in this scene as two other Grand Masters have already been killed by the assassins. He was the Grand Master of the Teutonic Order and was crucial in its establishment as well as propagation in Europe. Reason for death unknown. Attributed to overall damage, succumbed in campaigns.
William of Montferrat had a vision. Saw a way to end our pain. It's him we should follow. It's him will lead us to victory.
Now, this was a complicated target to research, but it ended up being my absolute favourite. The first thing, or issue, that came up was that William had a son that was also named William. He was a decorated knight, but died before his father. Fun fact about William, his son, William, was that he was actually married to Sibylla, who shows up in the movie Kingdom of Heaven. But in the game, they make the elder, who was in his 70s at that time, look like a spry 40-something-year-old. Made it quite confusing when finding notes in my books for who I was investigating. We'll call him William the Elder, and well-preserved. He is a highly influential figure in the Crusades on many accounts, especially in the recapture of Acre. This mission in the game was very satisfying. There were a lot of options in the barracks, and the escape is a little bit more taxing. The mission even starts with a little nod to Richard the Lionheart, and he's donning a non-English accent as a reference to his still strong Norman roots. In fact, I found out that in his 10-year reign, he only spent 6 months in England. Regardless, the reasons for William of Montferrat's death are not documented. But now enters a third player in the story, Conrad of Montferrat. Of all the characters they could have chosen for AC1, I wish they had chosen this one. Conrad, son of William the Elder, but well preserved, was actually killed by the assassins. Yes, it was in a different city than the three focal ones in the game, but with other shenanigans, why not revise that detail from Tyre to Acre or something like that? Some more background on Conrad of Montferrat. He was sailing back to the Holy Land and he noticed something eerie at the port. The Muslim forces were laying a trap for him, and he was able to sense it and retreat to Tyre. He was passionate for the cause. My books say that he even pointed his crossbow in the direction of his father, who was hostage, as a sign that he would not relinquish the city. That tale is now disputed. He was favoured to become king of Jerusalem, despite Richard the Lionheart being unsure, and he was killed just days after his coronation. Probably to avoid upheaval and turmoil, his wife remarried just a week later, so there could be an effective succession. But gosh, I just find that funny, and it's the perfect kind of intrigue for an AC game. Overall, I think Ubisoft cherry-picked some good targets for this narrative. But I'm surprised that so few of the historical characters present are from the Islamic world. Apart from Al-Mualim, the others are believable, but not historical, whereas the Latins all have some grounding. I'm not sure if it was due to the sensitivity of the time, or whether Islamic chroniclers were too thorough in recording cause of death to leave room for Ubisoft's creativity. Maybe the chroniclers were hyper-focused on the happenings directly around Saladin. Either way, I hope you learnt something from this video. Let me know if you want a similar video about Assassin's Creed 2.
I beg of you, just a few coins, please. I beg of you, just a few coins, please.
You're making a mistake.